understood you to say that transportation and career tech are included in the numbers.
Transportation and career tech are included within these numbers.
So earlier yesterday when you said transportation is fully funded, technically is it not if you're subject to a cap or if you're seeing a guarantee cut?
Let's see, one of those, we had the provision in the law last year that something had to be fully funded. It wasn't transportation. I guess it's fully funded unless you're capped. There is a provision in the bill that special education will be fully funded. I believe that's right. Isn't that the provision? Yeah.
So I saw a number here for cap. What the cap is essentially costing districts. Is it in here somewhere? Is there a number on one of these sheets that shows what the guarantee is preventing the loss in district losses?
No, I don't know if it is, but let me tell you what it is.
Okay, it is in there somewhere.
So the total effect of the cap is withholding $587 million in the first year. In the second year, it withholds $355 million. Recall that I said, we designed this thing to reduce the numbers of districts on the cap and the amount that the cap is withholding. And so we have begun to move ourselves off of the cap. As far as the guarantee is concerned, we pay guarantees in the amount of $165 million in the first year, and we pay $148.6 million in the second year.
How about if we take a call from the phone? Moderator?
If you would like to ask a question over the phone, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. Your first question comes from Ben Lenka. Your line is now open.
Hi, thanks for this opportunity. I was curious in the formula if you guys took into account a local district's willingness, I know you're talking about capacity to fund locally, but whether you took into account their actual current level of local funding into the formula. Levies they already passed.
We did not make a change to the current formula, which means there's just a minimum requirement in order to participate in the foundation formula, which is the equivalent of 20 mills of property tax for operating purposes.
And I guess I'm just asking because I assume there are some lower capacity districts that maybe aren't, have very low levels, while higher capacity may have extremely high, even in comparison to their capacity. I'm just wondering how you can balance that out, or if there's a way to do that.
Well, we did not. I mean, of course, when you look at the capacity measures, what you generally find is the very high capacity districts have a lower effort because they don't really require a higher, because their capacity is high, they can levy fewer mills and or have a lower income tax and still produce substantial resources, whereas lower capacity districts would often, it would be necessary for them, because they have very low capacity, very low property valuation, they would have to levy more mills in order to generate the amount of money they thought was appropriate. Or they'd have to, in order to generate the same amount of resources, a lower capacity district would have to generate significantly more local revenue at a significantly greater tax effort. And of course, the recognition of that factor is why we have a foundation formula, and it's why our state share, in wealthy districts, we pay 5, 10, 15%, and in poorer districts we pay up to 90% of the total calculated foundation amount. Back to the room.
Tim? So it's
my understanding that the district capacity is calculated on the median income plus the property valuation per pupil.
Well, it's not. It's the valuation is the base, and then you apply an adjustment based on
It's
median income.
It's a calculation of those factors.
It is, those two, that's right.
Okay. And is this a big change from what's been expected in the past, that higher capacity districts are expected to do more for themselves, help themselves, and the state then shifts its resources to the higher need districts?
The change is the incorporation of our income adjustment. Income adjustments have periodically been in and out of the formula.
Okay, so
The-
that's now in the formula, that's the big change.
That is the big change here. We believe there is an income adjustment in the formula now, but we do not believe it operates properly. The income adjustment in the formula now essentially provides, the purpose of income adjustment in the formula is to try to recognize if you have lower capacity that there ought to be that ought to be recognized, and your state aid ought to go up. Or conversely, that you have greater capacity locally, and that your local contributions ought to be higher.
So is this sort of
The one that operates now, the income adjustment that operates now, overwhelmingly provides a benefit to the higher capacity districts, and so it just doesn't logically meet the test that you would apply to the introduction of an income adjustment to the formula. So we are proposing to replace that with the income adjustment that I've outlined here today.